Coming up on Mountain News at 6, a father and son are dead after a house fire in Letcher County. And one local state park played host to a group of people trying to clean up the region. More about that coming up.
And it feels like summer to start the week, but we are trending a little bit more soggy by this weekend. Those details coming up as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
A father and son are dead after a Sunday morning house fire in the Fleming Neon community of Letcher County. WYMT's RJ Johnson shares how neighbors worked to try and save the two.
For Jerry Martin, it was a regular Sunday morning on Henry Hutton Road.
I was sitting on my front porch, and I was going to be leaving my home shortly thereafter, and I heard an explosion and looked up, and I could see smoke coming out the front of the house.
She says she ran to see what was happening. That's when she saw a house on fire.
It happened very quickly. By that time, flames were coming out the front door of the home, and the fire was very aggressive. It was moving very quickly.
Martin and other neighbors rushed to put out the flames with fire extinguishers, water hoses, and more, while also trying to help the people inside.
One of the neighbors broke out a window, but there was something blocking the window. And we also tried to open the back door. We couldn't get the back door open. I could hear a voice. I couldn't make out any words.
Once first responders arrived, she says it took a while for them to fight the flames.
They were doing as much as they could, as quickly as they could. They were spraying this fire for at least a couple of hours, perhaps longer, because it spread very quickly throughout the house.
Martin says although it is a tragic situation, she is thankful for all of the neighbors who tried to save the two men. In Fleming Neon, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
The Letcher County coroner says they are still working to connect with family members of the victims, so they have not released those names yet. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. We now know the name of the person who was killed in a motorcycle crash in Corbin. The Whitley County coroner identified that person as 71-year-old Carrie Taylor. The crash happened yesterday around 7 p.m. The coroner says Taylor's motorcycle went off the road before hitting a tree. And we also know the name of the person that was killed in a crash last Friday in Southwest Virginia. 74-year-old Nancy Pauley of Jonesville, Virginia, died at the scene. The crash happened on Route 58A in Lee County, Virginia. Officials said Pauley was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash.
Well, happy Monday, everyone. Some fantastic weather to kick off the work week. A live look from our studio overlooking parts of Hazard, and we are dry on this Monday under plenty of blue sky. That current temperature up to 82 degrees here in Perry County, and most of us in the middle to even upper 80s at this hour, up to 88 over in Estill County for Irvin, 86 in Somerset, 87 over in Manchester for Clay County at this hour. So we are tracking some more mild weather to go into this evening. We are dry on the radar thanks to this area of high pressure, and this will bring some more dry conditions to go into this evening. Also some more mainly dry weather on the way to go into your Tuesday as well. A copy and paste forecast as more dry conditions and more warm weather is on the way on Tuesday. Your forecast this evening, those lows not too bad in the upper 50s to lower 60s to wake up on your Tuesday. A small chance of a shower tomorrow, but higher rain chances are looming as we go into parts of your Thursday, Friday, and your weekend. Notice those rain chances really ramp up by late Wednesday, pushing into the end of the week. Also for the weekend, more details on those rain chances coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. In the past few weeks, we brought you multiple stories out of Powell County where animals have been rescued from homes and their owners have faced charges of animal abuse or cruelty. Jessica Umbro has more from the Powell County Animal Shelter and how they are raising awareness about the animals they house on this National Rescue Dog Day.
We're on a tight budget most of the time, so we do depend on donations, but we were limited to a small shelter based on our population.
Teresa Stidham, shelter assistant at the Powell County Animal Shelter, says larger batches of dogs and cats have seen a lot before finding their way to safety.
They came from the situation where we had to seize. It ended up, we thought it was going to be like 22 animals, ended up being about 25. We are not allowed to do anything with them until the case is settled. So that takes up space too. We've had 4 court cases at one time, and that's common. That's common these days anyway.
Stidham says that some animals, such as Bella, have been able to find a home after experiencing neglect.
She's adopted now. She's thriving. She's doing great. These are some of her offspring, these 3 down here.
But until animals are fully surrendered by their owners,
we have to hold on to them until the courts decide whether or not the dogs go back to the owners. If the owners were to surrender them, then we would be free to place them. So this is Amber. She's a very friendly girl.
She says it's why the shelter has to turn away personal surrenders.
We're telling people if you can hold on to your personal pet until we can make room or till we have room, that's kind of what we're faced with right now.
In Powell County, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
More information about the Powell County Animal Shelter, including how you can get in contact with them about their available animals, can be found on our website at WYMT.com. School leaders and first responders say they want to practice to be prepared in the event of a tragedy. Mercer County firefighters and first responders staged a school bus crash today. It comes near the anniversary of one of the nation's deadliest bus crashes here in Kentucky. Mercer County Superintendent Jason Boer survived that crash that happened back in May of 1988 in Carrollton. Boer says today's event could help prevent further tragedies from happening in the future.
This is one of the positive things. That's the educational piece, I call it, to where we're able to educate everyone on how they would respond to be more efficient, more effective if something like this ever occurred again.
First responders and community leaders were blinded on purpose to give a realistic look of what a smoke-filled school bus looks like after a crash. The realism also included confusion with what to do with multiple people and their different situations. Issues continued today for phone customers of Kinetic by Windstream in Hazard. Phone service has been spotty at best for days. One downtown business owner told us she had been without phone service for 10 days. We have reached out to the company multiple times since last week. They told us this afternoon the issue is multiple circuits being down. Officials say they are working on it but do not have an estimated restoration time. We're affected even here at WYMT by that. The Breaks Interstate Park hosted an event all about cleaning up Appalachia, working across state lines to bring communities together. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more about the mission.
Community health, human health. The idea with this is it all starts with clean rivers.
The Central Appalachia Cleanup Conference brought 3 states to the table to discuss how to clean up their communities.
Rivers and streams are all interconnected, and so it doesn't make any sense when you've got a hollow in one state that can jump over to the next state and sort of help out, have them help out each other to treat them like they're separate.
Hosted by Stream Sweepers, an organization based in Virginia, the event encouraged invested individuals from West Virginia, and Kentucky to highlight, create, and grow programs in their own communities to help clean up the region.
If you don't have an education program, if you don't have everybody's in the boat and they're all paddling the same direction, then you may clean up a river and it's just going to end up back in the same place again.
The conference focused on a 20-year plan to clean up the Leviza, Tug Fork, and Russell Fork rivers by implementing programs and spreading the word to neighbors.
We do not tattle on landowners. That's not what this is about. We have organized resources that can help you help yourselves if you want to help yourselves.
Saying it is about communities creating change for themselves.
10 different ways of why the river is important to people, why keeping it clean is important, right? So then
in Breaks, Virginia, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Those involved say partners like Pike County Pride Cleanup, Friends of the Tug Fork, and others are already working in their communities, but their efforts are stronger when they band together. More than $32,000 is being awarded to the Magoffin County Fiscal Court in emergency road aid funds. Officials with the Transportation Cabinet have announced that the money will go toward repairing a slide on Meredith Branch Road. Early voting has wrapped up ahead of tomorrow's primary election in Kentucky. More people took advantage of the early voting option this year. Secretary of State Michael Adams says more than 75,000 Kentuckians cast their ballots during the 3 days of early voting. That's up about 2,500 people compared to last year's May primary. Similar to last year, the Secretary of State says most early voters were Republicans. Now, if you did not vote early, here's what you need to know about voting on Election Day tomorrow. The polls are open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in this part of the state. You can look at sample ballots and find your polling locations on govote.ky.gov. Now, here's just a few of the races we'll be following tomorrow night. We mentioned a few last week, and here's a few more. In the race for 95th District State Representative, which covers Floyd and Pike counties, Brandon Spencer and David Pennington will square off in the Republican primary. In the race for 41st Circuit Commonwealth's Attorney on the Republican side, longtime incumbent Gary Gregory will take on Haley Joe Fields. That area covers Clay, Leslie, and Jackson counties. There will also be 2 races in Pulaski County that involve the Somerset City Council. In Ward 3, Barbara Beckman, Brent Fleming, Mike Honeycutt, and Brannon Wilden are all vying for that spot. And in Ward 5, incumbent Jerry Girdler will face Jeanette Highslope and Margaret Dick. Now, there are 2 areas in eastern Kentucky that are having a wet, dry vote. Folks will vote to decide whether or not alcohol can be sold in Fleming Neon in Letcher County. And that's just for the Fleming Neon community. But the vote will also happen for all of Knott County. Now, you can stay up to date on all of our election coverage on the WYMT News app. That app is free to download from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Just scan the QR code you see right there on your screen.
We are tracking some more dry and mild weather for this evening, and some more summer-like conditions are on the way for your election day tomorrow. Your forecast coming up. Plus,
Kentucky State Police have officially kicked off its Click It or Ticket campaign.